All right, back to Inferno. John Pertwee in Doctor Who Inferno. So now want to talk about the special features for Inferno. Well, there was an information production note text that you can watch. All 7 episodes again, if you want to. I already talked about that feature previously when I talked about Genesis of the Daleks, so I don't need to comment on it anymore. Alright, then there's a commentary with Nicholas Courtney, who plays the Brigadier, John Levine, who plays Benton, Barry Letts, who was the producer and co-director, Terrence Dix, script editor. So there's that commentary, and then there's something titled "Can You Hear the Earth Scream?" and that's a making of Inferno. Okay, so in that it's said that the writer got the idea from the Russians and Americans that tried to dig through the Earth's crust. Both stopped abruptly. The Americans were asked why they stopped. They said that was top secret, classified information. So that was a little mysterious. It's an interesting concept to think about. How far can humans drill into the Earth before something bad would happen? It does make sense that it's not a good idea to do it. To just keep on drilling to the center of the Earth. There was a movie about that, going to the center. What was it called? Something about going to the center of the Earth. That was interesting. Yeah, it makes sense that we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be drilling all the way to the center of the Earth, because we might end up destroying the planet if we do that. Probably. But it does make you wonder what's down there. All right. So Barry Letts took over for director Douglas Camfield because of a heart condition. Sheila Dunn, who played Petra, was Douglas Camfield's wife. Okay, and then another special feature for Inferno was titled The Unit Family, Part 1. Okay, there is a quote here by... Ooh, that's a long quote. It's like a paragraph. Looks like it's a quote by, Derek Sherwin, who was script editor and producer of Doctor Who. Okay, so here's the quote by that person, Derek Sherwin. "We were bringing Doctor Who down to Earth and making it very much a sort of Quatermass type concept. I'm not familiar with Quatermass. Apparently, it's another uh, British show that I assume isn't on anymore. So he's comparing it to that, uh, making a making it a very much a sort of Quatermass type concept. It needed taking out of Fantasyland in space with weird psychedelic monsters with one arm. They felt they had enough of that. They wanted to get down to reality and Quatermass-y stories again. Maybe that Quatermass was like a military type show based on Earth. Maybe that's why he's saying they wanted it to be more like that. All right, continuing on with the quote here. Wanted to get down to reality and Quatermassy stories again, and that was the beginning of that period. So that was Derek Sherwin, who was script editor and producer of Doctor Who, explaining why they wanted to bring Unit into Doctor Who. more prominently, that is. Okay, so then there's a visual effects promo film, deleted scene, which is it's John Pertwee. So John Pertwee used a different voice uh, as a radio announcer in this deleted scene, but they felt his voice was too recognizable as John Pertwee, so they didn't use it in the episode that was aired. Then there's a John Pertwee Years intro, and there's a photo gallery, and the Doctor Who annual Radio Times Billings, which is accessible with a DVD-ROM drive. All right. So I noticed something about Inferno after I had seen Fury from the Deep. Well, after I had seen Fury from the Deep, I think it was even, I was helped in this realization probably by information text, production notes, but realizing that the similarity between Inferno and Fury from the Deep, which is another really good Doctor Who story that I recommend. One of those ones that every Doctor Who fan should see, Fury from the Deep. But there's a similarity between Fury from the Deep and Inferno. Which might become apparent if I would read the back of the DVD for Fury from the Deep. So here's Fury from the Deep, which is animated. So this is with Troughton, Patrick Troughton. So on the front here we have the Doctor, Troughton, with Jamie and Victoria. Okay. So on the back here, so you might notice a similarity if you were following along with these videos about what happens in Inferno. So you might notice the similarity as I read the description of what happens. Well, the description of Fury from the Deep. Okay, here's what it says. The TARDIS brings the Doctor, Victoria, and Jamie to the coast of Kent, England, where the ESGO complex, so it's another complex, is drawing up natural gas under the North Sea via a huge network of pipes linked to their offshore rigs. But the Doctor is convinced he can hear something in the pipes, a heartbeat, something alive. Others at the complex have heard it too, and one by one, contact with the rigs is being lost. But Chief Robson will have none of it. So Chief Robson is similar to Professor Stallman in Inferno. That character is kind of similar. Okay, but Chief Robson will have none of it, and work will continue. And so it does, until sentient, aggressive seaweed, so this is different, seaweed begins attacking the base and taking over the personnel one by one. So kind of similar that they're being taken over by something that was coming up from the beneath the earth. So they're being taken over one by one, creating a spearhead from which it will launch its attack and enslave the entire human race. Can the Doctor discover a way to stop the weed advancing, or does the only real chance of success lie with Victoria? And if it does, can a way be found to utilize that without harming one of the Doctor's very best friends? Most of the BBC's original master recording for Fury from the Deep were lost after the program's original transmission. However, audio-only recordings have survived and have been used here to create a brand new, fully animated reconstruction of this lost classic. Yep. Okay, so yeah, definitely some similarities between Inferno and Fury from the Deep. It's a different writer, though. So it's not like it's the same guy coming up with a similar concept. So it's not the same writer. It's not the same writer. The writer for Fury from the Deep, Victor Pemberton. And the writer for Inferno was Don Houghton. So they're both good in their own way. They're just a little similar. I guess there's, like, you could say there's parallels.